Alright guys, I'm GMVS and it's time for a Garden Warfare 2 tier list. This is on abilities. I've not done characters yet. I'll probably do that some other time because I've still got quite a few to get. So I thought I'd do abilities. I was originally planning on doing Garden Warfare 1 abilities. I might do that some other time. I was actually thinking of merging them into this list just because there's only a few, like the engineered drones and the Cheetos abilities like Cheesy Goop, Cheetah Heal Station, etc. But eventually I decided to just do Garden Warfare 2 because I have to take into account that using Garden Warfare 1 as well. Stuff like Spikeweed got massively buffed in GW2. Also, I'm going to do it differently this time. Instead of just creating the tier list, I've already got it pre-made. I'm just pretty much just go through all of them that aren't obvious. Also, the Santa I've got, you can also attach a beard to it. There we are, makes me look even more of a d***, but still. So, starting from the bottom, going upwards. First of all, the future dummy. I think this was Garden Warfare's attempt in order to bring the Exploder up from Plant vs Zombies 2 into a third-person shooter game. And it works in tower defense, it does not work in this. The only time I can think of that this ability would actually be good is to use against a Torchwood when they're using Blazing Blast. But that's very situational, so it doesn't move it up. Also, I'm pretty sure you only get one charge. Red Artichoke is another one that I don't have, probably never will get it, never will use it. The old gimmick is, I think it's faster, which doesn't really help because that just makes it harder to hit people. Apparently the shots don't overheat as quickly, but that's pretty redundant when the dart drone shots don't overheat at all. And also it has less health than the green artichoke. Potato Nugget Mine I just think is super pointless. It's making an instant kill into a non-instant kill. This one I always thought was Sprint Burrow. I'm not sure if it's just me, but for any other Xbox One players, I feel like this ability is glitched in Garden Warfare 1, so it doesn't work at all. I don't think I even tested it far enough for Garden Warfare 2. I managed to swallow AI with it, but I've never swallowed an actual zombie because I just got bored and switched to the regular one. But even if it did work, I probably wouldn't put it that high anyway. Say if a scientist warps out of the way, then if you had the regular one, you'd still be underneath. You still might be able to catch up with them. With Sprint, you've got no chance of doing that, so it's in the bottom. Super P-Jump is pretty obvious. There's just no real reason to use it over Hyper. In Garden Warfare 1, there's some high camp spots that it could be used for, but I feel Garden Warfare 2 is pretty much none of that. Armored heal stations are just way too slow. The only good thing is they can survive a beam bomb in turfs, but that's also situational, and you can jump on them to avoid Chomper's burrow. And also, I will quickly go over the bling ones now I'm here. Bling ones I've always put side by side with the regular ones. I was really considering them all to be in the bottom tier because of how pointless they are, but I decided nah. The only exception is the Pizzazzling Potato Mine. I'll put that in okay while I put the regular one in good. I feel the Pizzazzling ones are way easier to see and that actually holds it back quite a lot. The whole point of Potato Mine is it's meant to be sneaky, so the Pizzazzling one kind of loses that. But it's still an okay because it's still usable. Turbo Twister, I know that this one had to get nerfed after it was like stupidly broken before. But I think they nerfed it too much. Now, I think the only time it's good to use is just for the armor really. I mean, I'm actually killed a Tortured with it the other day when he was using Blaze and Blast. No need for the future dummy then. But this actually just makes you easier to hit most of the time. Never do this when you're being sniped out, it does not help at all. So now we'll take a look at the weaks here. First of all, Long Bomb. Yeah, I hate to do it to it because I find this ability really fun to use, but it's just hard to hit people. It's nowhere near as good as the Impunt. I think it does have a faster fuse though. So there is a way you can just kick it against a dummy and then have it blow up instantly, but I feel that's just like overcomplicating it way too much. The shield recoil is just a lot weaker than the normal one. It's just too easy to get through to be any higher. I'll skip ahead a bit and cover the Tool Nut Battlement while I'm here. I've never really been a fan of defensive plants in Garden Warfare. This one I was originally considering from bottom because it doesn't protect the cactus at all really, even if you go behind the big parts. But it does have uses like scattering potato mines with them, defending objectives, and you can also use them as stairs to jump to places that you can't otherwise. Chomp Cannon, I think is really hard to aim. I get that what they're trying to do, give a Chomper a good range attack, and it can work pretty well when you use a Yeti Chomper or Spikeweed with it, but I'd rather just use a Goop because of how good that is. Multi-Shock I don't hate as much as everyone else. I think I've got more kills with this than anything else in week, but it's still not good. Multi-Ball apparently is good with Toxic Brains, that's it. But I don't have Toxic Brains, so I can't test. And the guided one, I know some people like this, but I rarely ever get kills with it. Honestly, the reason why I use the regular one mostly is because it gives the superhero good ranged attack now that the beam's been nerfed. I'll say now, got nerfed ages ago. And yeah, I know I spoke in favour about the Chomp Cannon. Honestly, the Chomp Cannon's just a shittier version of the regular Hadouken, as they call it. So now we'll take an OK. Here we have Iron Maiden. Or to call him by his popular name now, Johnny. And of course, King Johnny. I think they're better than a Tornut, but still nothing special really. You only get one, it's still quite easy to hit the cactus around it. It's not as good as the All-Stars regular dummy shield. The proximity summon mine I was originally considering for bottom tier, but honestly, I think it is quite a good anti-chomper system. It's nowhere near as good as the regular Sonic Grenade, so that's why it's just an OK. The Goat Fire is one of those abilities I think seems a lot better than it really is. It's hard to aim it, and it doesn't like instantly give you the win sort of thing. It's actually quite easy to get away. The Heal Bomb, this is a personal preference one I think. I'd much rather use the Sticky Ball. I think that's one of the most underrated abilities in the game, that's why I put it in Great. The Heal One can be good if you use the Beam, so you can still heal yourself in a way while healing other teammates, but I'd rather just use the station. Now we're going to good tier. Spiky Spikeweed is the worst of the Spikeweeds. It does extra damage, but Spikeweed's not really the ability you're meant to kill people with, so that doesn't really help out that much, and you only get 2 of them. Dark Beam Bomb's the worst out of the Beam Bombs, but it's still good. It's good especially for imps and scientists, the form of which you can inskill, and the latter just does serious damage too. It's still good, it's just not as good as the other 2 Beam Bombs. The Green Artichoke, or regular Artichoke, I know a lot of people dislike this one, but I think I just about prefer that over the regular drone, which I've put right next to it. I like its Airstrike better because while it only drops 1, you can just like keep circling around threats and just dropping them down. And 20 health is not messing around. Some beams, I've put them next to each other just because I can't really decide what's better. Now for the mechs. These 3 I put at the lowest because I think they're the easiest to take out. Drake's one of those that everyone thinks is really good at first, but it has no range. That holds back quite a bit because it's really vulnerable to Gatlings. It may have more health, but yeah, Gatlings, some beams can easily take it out. The Pylon has less health than the rest, and its abilities aren't really that good. I like how it's got its own version of the Potato Mine, and its primary is quite good. It's got mobility as well, which is nice, but I do think it's the worst mech. The Retro Gatling I actually prefer over the regular Gatling Garden Warfare 1, but on this game I prefer the normal one, because I think they buffed it quite a bit, so it's more accurate and it gives you more armour. That being said, Retro's still quite good I think, I just generally like using the regular one better. I shall put Arcane Lotus in Grey. I think that really does have a lot of use. It's just healing, it lets you be immune for a period of time, and it loses the attack, but honestly I'd prefer the healing most of the time. The only rose I do tend to use Arcane Enigma on is the Necros, because if you jinx them and then use Arcane Enigma on them, it can be pretty good. Time Snail I think is quite overrated, because it kind of doesn't guarantee you the victory like so many of the other slowing ones do. It does have good range, but enemies can still attack you quite easily, and I mean, it's still good, I just don't think it's as good as everyone thinks it is. Energy Warp is kind of like the Arcanes, but you can't jump. And this ability I thought was really good at first, and I got it on the first game, and obviously it does still have its uses, i.e. the cheat code to Warner Hills, and it's good for evading chompers when in Burrow, but Warp's just so much better, I don't think there's much reason to use the Energy Warp. And speaking of, I only put the Scientist Heal Beam in good. A lot of the other healings I put in top tier, especially the Sunflower ones, because there's no disadvantage to using them. And of course the regular heal station. I would much prefer to use the station over the beam, so that's why I put the station excellent and the beam in good. It kind of comes down to what player you want to be, but I think removing the Scientist's ability to heal himself really hurts him a lot. Rocket Jump is yet another one that was a lot better on the first game. They nerfed it in this so you don't jump as high, and Rocket Leap's just better in every way. Rocket Leap gives you 2 charges, and you can still get on quite a lot of houses with it, so that's why I put that up in Great. Oh, I think I'll go over all the stunning ones quickly. Gravity Grenade and EM Peach. I feel they're not as good as Sonic Grenade, because while they cover a larger area, and more people use them just because of their reputation, you can still attack when hit with those, and while Sonic Grenade stuns you, so you can't do anything really. It doesn't last as long, but I still think that's pretty much the key to win with engineers really. EM Peach is damage as well, which helps, and Gravity Grenade gets them in the air, which can make a group of them really vulnerable. If you either just blaze away at them or stand and use Imp Card to under them. But I think Sonic Grenade is the best out of them. Didn't quite go in excellent, but it was close. Turbo Jackhammer is in fact the only store ability I've not got from packs yet. On the first game I think I put both the Jackhammers in the same one, but since they buffed Turbo it made him better and made the other ones seem a bit more redundant, so I put the Turbo one higher. The Bolt Blasters I'm a big fan of. I think it's such a shame that the rocket drone's gone, because I did really like that, especially the big laser one. But I still like these. I actually prefer them over the P-Gatling, believe it or not. I think it's got a higher damage output. It's easier to hit, but it gets a shield at the front, so you can sometimes survive shock shots with it, while if you get hit with a ZPG in the Gatling, you're dead. Dark Drone I just got and it's really good. Big fan of this. Doesn't overheat, does great splash. Airstrikes quite good as well. Super Sticky Goop I thought is not quite as good as the regular one because it's got a slower recharge. It does stick them in place though, which is nice. Vampweed's another one I've yet to use because I've yet to unlock it, but it sounds pretty cool. You can heal yourself with it. It doesn't damage, but I don't really care. Spiderweed's just a thing I pretty much use to guarantee the win. That's why I put the regular one great as well. Shock Shot I didn't put quite as high as the ZPG because I think it's less accurate due to the way it splits, and it doesn't do as much damage. It's still a great ability, but ZPG is just better. Hover Goats ones are there because, I mean, damage buff, there's no real disadvantage to using it. I was going to put in Excellent, but honestly I don't find it as good as the healers. And Mega Awesome Lasers, kind of like a sunbeam that you can move with. These three mechs I put in great because they are really. Imp Carter's one you kind of have to use correctly. A lot of people just think they're immune with this one when you're really not. And there's some situation where it makes it easier to kill, like the Turbo Twister. Although it does more damage, it's got a much better range. You can pretty much chase people with it. And it's actually pretty busted in Rando's Rapid Revenge. So if you actually have the decency to play that, then... Both the powers are putting great. I think the future one is better because it does more damage and has more health. The speed doesn't really bother me. Because like I said, I don't think being fast when you're drone really helps you out. The Parrot I think is better than the standard Garlic Drone because it's more accurate and its airstrikes better, it drops them all instantly. And now we go with the Excellent here. Huskop is kind of like a get out of jail free card sort of thing. You can jump over to instantly kill them. You can also direct as well, which makes it even better. Burrow and Goop is going to be controversial. A lot of people just don't want to admit how good the Chomp's abilities are because they hate them so much. Burrow pretty much gets you a guaranteed win sort of thing. I mean, often people suicide Chomp with them, which is not a good way to use the Chomper, but you're still getting a kill with them. You can hide on the ground when things are getting tough. You can also use it to sneak up on people, which I do a lot, especially with ones that have a decent primary attack like Armor Chomper, Power, Fire. Regular Goop I do think is the best LB ability for the Chomper. Warp again is like just the way you play Scientists. I think it's really essential. You get two of them so you can bob in and out. Hyper is another one that I feel people don't want to admit is so good just because of how annoying it is when people poke OP. But it gets to the top due to its versatility. You can get on high places, jump around people and kill them with splash damage. I hate to admit it. The fact that you just get to jump multiple times makes it a lot better than the rocket jumps in my opinion. Regular Mech is the best one I think. I prefer Party. One because it's the coolest and two because it does more damage. The fact it doesn't last long. Doesn't really affect me much. It's got Missile Madness, its regular shot's quite powerful. It's pretty much the best mech all around. Impine is just stupidly cheesy as I've already discussed. ZPG is by far the most fun ability to use I think. I can see why it's the most popular one. So satisfying to get kills with it. Does tremendous damage. Great anti-Gatling, anti-Torchwood character. Yeah. The Rainbow Heal Flower is an interesting one because I think the rate is technically the same as the regular Heal Flowers, but the fact it's healing you more constantly rather than like having a drops at a time is better. It's closer to the Scientist's heal station I think, and it's better rather than just standing around like a lemon waiting for more drops to come out. And the Torchwood ones, I don't really need to explain these. So I think that's it for my list really. Leave your thoughts down in the comments below, please like the video. Subscribe if you're new, I'm GMVS, thanks for watching.